In this video, I am going to talk to you about everything when it comes to real estate sales and higher end or luxury home sales. I will focus on everything from sales to marketing to branding to technology to the internet, social media, and even strategies, a bunch of strategies that cost little or money and have little or no competition. And I will get my big photo out of the way here in just a little bit I'll screen share everything with you. Okay, I'll make myself nice and small. And so really stay tuned, and you should walk away with all sorts of confidence, some skills and some strategies to do anything you want in your real estate business. You should walk away with some also the same confidence, skills, and strategies when it comes to adding a few luxury home sales to your business every year. And I guarantee from my own personal experience that will change your life. So probably get ready and take some notes. I'm going to unpack everything for you. But right before I do that, do want to talk to you about maybe some obstacles that you're facing now. So do you want to make more money? We're going to cover that. Do you want more clients? I'm going to cover lead generation strategies to get more clients. Are you doing everything yourself? And so are you doing everything from scratch? So I'm going to add some tools to help you do things faster if you're going to do everything on your own or even hire an assistant. Excuse me. Do you have systems in place? We're going to talk a little bit about systems in place. Do you feel like you're on a hamster wheel? So what I mean by that is, are you selling the same old lower priced and medium priced homes and making the same income? Things are stagnant or things are boring for you. And most of all, and what I'm going to do most of the rest of this video is I'm going to talk to you about raising your average sales price and adding a few higher end or luxury home sales to your business every year. So I'm going to talk to you about how to find them, what to say to them, how to get them to work with you, so on and so forth. So why should you listen to me? My name is Hugh Thomas Large. I've sold over $100 million worth of real estate the last few years. I have specialized in luxury homes, and I understand the the internet, social media, and anything that has to do with online marketing, etc., as well as anybody on the planet. And that's not just realtors, as well as anybody on the planet. So let's get my face out of the way here and let's dive right in. So there's four exact steps or four key things that you have to, hang on a second, I'll get myself out of here. Get myself over in the corner. There we go. So there's four things that you have to take, the steps you need to take, or there's four keys to you adding some higher price homes to your, or luxury home sales to your business every year. And those are knowledge or research. It is also a powerful seller presentation. It's branding yourself online and offline and doing that pretty much for free. And also some strategies that are unique, out of the box, that are different from what everybody else is doing. So you're not competing against any other agents. You're really trying to go on appointments that are literally, you're the only one going, meeting the buyer, the only one meeting the seller. So let's dive right in. Let's get into the knowledge. No one can drive, especially say in an area like myself, no one can drive all the homes, say over $1 million. In Scottsdale, Arizona alone, there's 1,100 houses active at any point. So here is what I did. Here is my suggestion to you. Go into an area that is geographically close to you, or is an area that you want to work. And I'm going to use an example. So I chose Paradise Valley, the most exclusive area in the Phoenix metro area. There was about 300 houses over $1 million for sale active at any given time. That's a lot of houses, but I would suggest anywhere between, say, 150 and 300 homes is all you can handle. And I want you to do a deep dive. And what I mean by a deep dive is fly through every single one of those listings, looking at the photos more than anything, see if something jumps off the page. I also want you to excuse me, I also want you to maybe look at the first line in the remarks just to see if it says $100,000 pool, so on and so forth. So that's what you're looking for. Looking for as fast as you can photos that just show an amazing view, how it sits on the mountain, whatever it is. So that would be the initial deep dive. And I personally took 2 notes on every property. And as techie as I am, I put them in a binder, two to a page. Could put 2 listings to a page, and I wrote the 2 notes on each one. I had that everywhere. So if somebody called me on the phone, if I was in an open house, whatever, I had access to all these listings. But you can do it any way you want. But I'm saying you have to deep dive. That took me approximately 8 hours, 4 hours one day and 4 hours another. Also want you to look at trends. So things between 1 and 1.5, 1.5 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 5, so on and so forth, and see what those trends are. So do they all back to the mountain? Are they all gated? What is it? And so the whole gist of this entire initial research is to be able to say to somebody very quickly that how you'll capture a luxury home buyer especially is what comes out of your mouth, the first 2 sentences that come out of your mouth. So if they're looking in a specific neighborhood, let's say Judson in Paradise Valley, I'm able to say it's got a guard gate, an actual guard in the gate in the community, and most of the houses back to the hillside. So that's what you're trying to do. That's how 80% of how you're going to capture luxury home or higher end buyers and sellers is knowledge of the market. That's exactly what they're looking for. They're not looking for anything else. So your ability to spit something out very quickly will be what will separate you from everybody. And on top of all this, I would absolutely, as if I was a buyer or something of that nature, I would keep myself updated every single day. I did it twice a day to see what's going on in the market, see if there's new actives, pending, solds, whatever it is. And again, looking at the pictures real fast, so on and so forth, and just really knowing your market. So, excuse me, the bottom line to this is in 30, 60, but I'm going to say 90 days, you'll be super confident. How many realtors do you think will actually be looking at the market this strongly? Next to nobody. Excuse me. So you should feel confident. That's the biggest thing. Your confidence level should be super high in 90 days. This will make you talk to somebody much quicker, sound more intelligent, so on and so forth. Like I said, those 2 quick sentences in the beginning will matter, whether it's somebody on the phone, whether it's in an open house, et cetera, et cetera. So that's about it for the knowledge and research portion. And let's get into the second. Excuse me for moving tabs around, but that's the best I can do for sharing the screen. So now let's talk about seller presentation. I would, first of all, the first thing I'm going to tell you is to go out and buy a book called Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff. Oren Klaff is not a realtor. He is a venture capitalist, but he has to walk in a room and raise $25 million. He studied what he was doing right and wrong. He also got together with a psychologist who wrote the book Pitch Anything maybe 7 years ago. And I used it. It's very, very successful for me. So I switched my listing presentation to this process. And without going through the process, I'm going to slightly go through it and just say, there's going to be steps. So you set a frame right in the beginning, or you set status. It's going to be why you, why now. So you're going to talk about the market a little bit. You're going to introduce a big idea. This will be very different from everybody else, and that's exactly what you're looking for. So let me just go through one. So step 1, we're setting the frame or setting status. You want people to listen to you. So how do you get that? You tell them, hey, 1, you make them breathe by saying it's only going to take about 20 minutes, and that's a true statement unless they ask all sorts of questions, so on and so forth. But this presentation will be short. And I personally say something of this nature. Hey, let me tell you a little bit about myself to get started. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've got over 20 years experience in the business. I've sold over $100 million. I do specialize in luxury homes. I'm in the market morning, noon, and night. And I understand the internet, Google, and social media as good as anybody on the planet. Done, over with, so on and so forth. So that's just an example of one of the 6-step process. So You want to have this very powerful presentation. And let me go into one last thing here. When you get into the marketing, which happens to be step number 4, you want to be different from everybody else. This is what's going to separate you. This is what's going to keep them intrigued. This is what's going to get them to list with you. And that is something like Proxio. So most luxury agents don't even know about this, about Proxio.com. But Proxio.com is just a listing portal. Cost you maybe only $9.99 a month, put your listing up there. And the wonderful thing, and see how powerful this sounds, is that it's translated into 19 different languages. And actually the 94 countries has gone way up. I'm going to change it while we speak. It's 153 countries. So imagine saying that right off the bat. This is how you're talking about your marketing, that, hey, I'm going to put your listing on Proxio, and this will translate your listing into 19 languages and put it in front of, be promoted in 153 countries, and et cetera, et cetera. So you just want to sound completely different, and that's a great example. And that'll be it for now, for the presentation and branding. This I definitely want to talk to you about very clearly. Social media is not a lead generation tool. You'll be lucky if you get a lead here and there. And even if you do Facebook ads, very difficult. It's about 100 to 1 leads to turning somebody into a buyer. So social media, if somebody told you the truth, it's for branding. And the internet, let me give you an example of what will happen or how things happen. So I'm sitting in an open house. I have 2 weight loss surgeons come in. They say to me, oh, we're looking in Paradise Valley, et cetera, et cetera. Well, what do you think I did when they left? I absolutely Googled them. I wanted to see what kind of surgery they were doing, where were their offices, et cetera, more about them. They do the exact same thing to you, especially the higher end clients. So what will show up? Absolutely no two ways about it. What will show up on the first page of Google is your website, is Facebook page, if you have one, and LinkedIn. So those 3 are super key. So what you want to do is you want to look luxury. So everything needs to look the same. And I'm just going to say real quickly, offline, the same thing. So your business card or your postcards that you send out or your cover CMA presentation, everything looks the same. And let me just give you a very quick example of that. See the picture and the look on LinkedIn. See the picture and the look on my website. See the look and the picture on Facebook. See, it all matches. It all looks luxury, so on and so forth. And to take that just one step further, you can put your text needs to speak luxury. It needs to say, I'm like my LinkedIn, I believe, says, let's see if we got it right here. I'm the owner of AZ Luxury Living, over 20 years experience, specializing in mountainside and golf course, blah, blah, blah. And so that's generally it again for number 3. And let's just go through really. Facebook is for branding. I would do something similar to what I do. And that is I just continuously put up luxury homes, new to the market. Give me a second here as it loads. But you see, I look luxury. Everything I say. So I just put Arizona Luxury Homes, today's featured home, send them to my website. But if you notice, one beauty after another. So that's, well, if we scroll down, it would continue that way. But yeah, see, as it continues. So now somebody looks me up. I sure as heck look like the luxury home sales guy. So, and I'll be honest with you, in my own experience, that I wasn't even 90 days into this, and everybody was calling me the luxury guy because I was looking that way everywhere, every how, and upside down and backwards. So anyway, let's talk about some of these other sites. Twitter, no one's ever going to buy a house on Twitter. LinkedIn, extremely important. I'm going to talk to you in a minute about a strategy. Google Plus is going away. YouTube, important, and everything's going that way, and everything's going video, but you need to be very, very good. Be unique, be spectacular, have calls to action. You have to be very good at this. Pinterest, no one's going to buy a house on Pinterest or Instagram. It's a very young crowd. People aren't buying houses on Instagram. You can brand yourself there, but no one's going to click on and buy a house. Email marketing, I think, is very important. Blogging doesn't really work anymore. There's too much content out there. But email marketing works terrific. So let's now get into one of the big things, and that's strategies. And I'm going to go into about 6 or 7 strategies probably, and not in super detail, but in some sort of detail. Excuse me, I'm going to take a drink here. Okay, so let's get going. Excuse me again. Let's start with LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is the greatest place in the world for a realtor to lead generate. And here's why I say that. LinkedIn is full of professionals. It's full of people that own their own business. It's full of an attorney. It's full of a financial service person. It's full of a car salesman for Mercedes, et cetera, et cetera. And so what you want to do with LinkedIn, and I'm going to see if I can do it real quick. I'm just going to really show you something very quick. You want to work with LinkedIn Helper, and that's about $15 a month. But what it does, so what you're attempting to do in the first place is just you're trying to meet people in your local area. You're trying to connect with them on LinkedIn. And then at some point, as soon as you're connected, you want to send a message to them. You don't want to sell them on the first date, as many people would say. You don't want to say, oh, I do this. I'm a realtor, and boy, I'm great at what I do, and I got great customer service, and I'll treat your clients great. Absolutely not. So what you want to do is you're looking for referral relationships. That's what LinkedIn is for. It's for getting into referral relationships where you can refer high-end clients to each other. So you would reach out to the Mercedes salesperson and with a message that I have sent before very successfully that literally says, this is what I do. I'm in the luxury home market in Phoenix, luxury home salesperson. I see that you're in the automotive industry. If you think there's an incentive or something we can give each other's clients and get into a mutually beneficial relationship, then I'd love to hear back from you. That's it. And you will, using LinkedIn Helper, the numbers are you can collect a couple of hundred people in an industry very quickly. You can then invite them to connect with you. Out of that, maybe 30 or 40 will connect with you, say in one particular industry. And then once you send that message out, maybe 2 or 3 people will work with you, will want to talk about the referral relationship. And then it's just like a listing appointment on the phone. You're going to qualify them. In person, you're going to present yourself and what you're offering. Let's go back to the strategies. So strategy number 2, Zillow Make Me Move. Again, don't sell somebody on the first date, but you can go to Zillow Make Me Move. You can go over $1 million in a specific city. You can, there's usually a place on Zillow Make Me Move that they have said, hey, it's okay to contact me. You contact them. You do not sell them at all. But in this case, you should have a buyer. So you would say, I have a buyer, he's a weight loss surgeon. He's looking in your area. I'm not going to pressure you for a listing. I just want to see if the house fits. And you get a chance to preview the house. And it's worked very well. There was a gentleman that had never sold a house in his entire life. Gave him this strategy in San Francisco, got a $5 million listing appointment. So it does work. Private listings, I think, is one of the greatest things also because there's only 2 things that capture high-end clients or luxury home clients. And that is your knowledge of the market, but also that you have private listings, it's very trendy. It's for people to get into houses nobody else can get into. Is exciting to people, and so it does capture them also. So private listings, what does that mean? So again, I'm going to use the weight loss surgeons. If they were looking in a community called Judson. I sent a letter out to Judson. It was very short. It said, hey, look, I've got these weight loss surgeon. He's looking in your neighborhood. If you're thinking about selling, boom. just get a hold of me. People will get a hold of you. In most cases, they won't list their house on the spot or something like that. They will allow you to bring the buyer to the house. You can have a one-party listing agreement. If it doesn't work for your buyer, you need to tell them the truth, and this is where the private listing comes in. So if it doesn't fit the client, you need to turn around and say, I say something of the sort that, hey, it didn't fit him, it's too expensive, whatever it is, and that I'm in this market every day. So if I have another person, it's okay if I bring them by. And of course, in 90% of the cases, they'll say yes. And so that becomes a private listing. So that's very powerful when you're in an open house or even on the phone and say, hey, look, I've got some listings nobody else can get into. By the way, what were you looking for? Et cetera, et cetera. Some of these things I'm going to go over, like social media. I'm just going to mention them. I'm not going to go into any sort of strategies, but social media is for branding. Just like I said before, you could do Google AdWords, you could do Facebook ads. Very, very difficult. I've spent a lot of money on it. I've gotten a ton of leads. But if you're not a follow-up king or queen, really, it's not going to work if you're not all over them in 7 different ways. So whether that's email, text, so on and so forth, you don't have systems set up. And it's still tough. Most of these people aren't ready to buy right away. Farming. I don't suggest anybody farm, but if you're going to send out a farming card of any nature, if you're going to just sold, just listed, in my library, I have the best card I've ever seen, and that was from a business partner of mine. And it talked about getting record prices. It talks about how you work with this kind of client that would buy in their neighborhood. It talks about how you just work for top dollar, stuff like that. And again, it has the same look as everything else. But that's my body. If you don't have an extremely unique call to action or the perfect card, I would like I was talking about the perfect postcard, I wouldn't farm in general. Too difficult. Homes with equity strategy. I'm pretty sure nobody on the planet's doing this because a broker, a friend of mine in Kentucky, and I created this actually. So what the homes with equity strategy would be is going into the MLS, looking in the years where everything was very cheap. So 2008 to 2012. 2012, I think, was the cheapest. 2011 next, 2008. So go into 2012, look at all the houses that have sold in that year, and check the history, make sure the buyer's still in that house, that it hasn't been active, expired, canceled, whatever, sold again. But make sure that original buyer is in that house, and they should have all sorts of equity because they bought in the short sale market or the foreclosure market when things were really low. And now the equity is way up there in certain cases, $300,000, $500,000, $700,000, $800,000 worth of equity. And this again would be a letter that I do have in a library that you would send to them saying, hey, I see you bought in this time period, and are you thinking about cashing out or reinvesting? It's, again, very short and sweet. I suggest any letter you write is short and sweet. People won't read it otherwise. New home builder strategy. What that means is, and I have done this successfully, but I also have a friend who makes a fortune doing this. And what he does, or what I did, was you go to a salesperson in the new home subdivision that is a friend of yours or a friend of a friend or something, and you look to get their contingency sale. So there's a lot of cases where people have a house to sell before they purchase the new home. And so someone needs to list that property. So you try to get into a relationship with the salesperson in the new home community, that they give you these leads, et cetera, et cetera. And that's a quick explanation of that. And when sphere of influence or monthly market reports, I'm going to put those two together. But your sphere of influence, really the only thing I think if you're going to talk to your sphere, I say talk contextually. So if you're sending a newsletter every month about renovating a bathroom or something like that isn't the best thing you can do. That Hold on a second. Anyway, that isn't the best thing that you can do. Uh, Hang on one second. Looks like my face wasn't there, which is good. Anyway, the what people care about is the value of their house more than anything. That's what they really care about. So, if you have the ability on a website such as Real Geeks or KV Core or something like that to put people on a monthly valuation, I would do that for every single human being I ever met, especially my sphere of influence. There's a very easy way to say that to people. Hey, I'm doing this for a friend. I'm doing this for all my friends. I'm doing this for all the people in the neighborhood. Keep you up to date on everything that's going on. The active souls. How'd you like me to do that for you? Yes, I would like you to do that for me. And what your goal is to get hundreds, maybe thousands of people on this monthly market report, and then people just start raising their hand. One a month, maybe then two a month, three a month. Start raising their hand and say, hey, you've been sending me this for a long time. I'm thinking about selling, so on and so forth. Open house. Here's a big one. If you're going to do an open house and you want to 10 times the amount of people that come in, you want the neighbors to be impressed and blown away, then you do it with a luxury car dealership. And again, I'll give you an example. I've done it with Tesla in the Paradise Valley area. And what we do is that not only do we hold the open house, but we put two Tesla cars in the driveway for people to test drive. We then promoted that, obviously, to 200 of the luxury home owners around that house. Tesla or the car dealership or car salesperson will absolutely co-market. They put flags all over the place, so on and so forth. And there's a postcard that you send out to the neighbors. Now, everybody will look at, instead of wine and cheese, instead of chocolate, whatever it is, water, everyone in the area will see that you are completely different and unique and you do something special. That's one of the most important things. But you'll also get 25 to 30 people to an open house instead of 2 or 3. And let's talk about expired and canceled. I don't necessarily suggest talking to expireds from the night before. It's very difficult. I've done it. You have to go up against 30 people. I used to say, hey, I know you've heard from 30 people already today, but blah, blah, blah. Here is this. Here's what I'm going to do. So on and so forth. Absolutely, totally rejectionable and just not worth it. So what do? You go back 3 months to a year to 2 years, 2 to 3 years, and look at those expireds and those that haven't sold since, again, are still expired, still same ownership in that house. You send them a letter. If you want to chase down their phone number, fine, but send them a letter that says, look, I see you've been off for 2 years. Again, very few agents, there will be some smart agents doing this and reaching out to them, but very few agents will be reaching out to them. They also, it's no rejection because they're not mad anymore. It's been off the market for 1.5 years. And I found a very sweet spot was 1 year to 2 years old on expireds. And you'll find expireds may list for the same price, but after 2 years of not being on the market and never sold, they seem to start to get motivated and they will take 10 to 20% less. I've seen that happen across the board. Networking, I don't suggest that because you're going up against, one, it's usually a waste of time, but secondly, if you're in a big group, heart association, something like that, you'd be going up against other realtors that are husband is or wife is a cardiologist or something like that. So I don't necessarily suggest it. Blogging, I used to think that it actually worked like a charm for Active Rain. It had such power that you would land on the first page of Google. Not true anymore. And last but not least, these are just activities. Like I told you before, you need to stay up on the market every single day on status changes. And last but not least, something tiny is to drive luxury neighborhoods. when you're in the area, if you haven't been in a neighborhood or whatever, do the same thing we talked about with the research, and that's you drive into a luxury neighborhood and just see, oh, are they all Victorian houses? Are they all back into the mountains, so on and so forth? And again, you want to sound intelligent. So that would be the gist of that. Let me finish off real quick here with maybe 30 seconds to a couple minutes on what I can do for you, or an offer. I feel it's hard to refuse. So everything I just talked to you about, I handle in my luxury home training program. And here's the wonderful thing about it, or the different thing about it than everybody else. As you can see, I'm on my page. I have unlimited access to me, or you have unlimited access to me for 6 months for $497. You have unlimited access to me for 1 year, and I've actually changed that to a lifetime mentorship. You can reach out to me for the next 5 or 10 years, whether I'm on the beach in Thailand, wherever I am. You are welcome to reach out to me forever. So what does this mean? This means that we get on the phone once a week. We go through every single thing I just talked to you about. So we go through the modules. We get you going on your presentation. We brand you. We do everything. We start executing on strategies. Then, of course, you're going to want to reach out to me during the week with an email or something. Say, hey, Hugh, I'm branding myself. What do you think about this picture? Et cetera, et cetera. Or I'm executing the strategy and it's not quite working. What do I do? So on and so forth. So it ends up your email, messenger, texting, unlimited access to me. And the same with the lifetime mentorship, unlimited access, just any question you ever had. And like I said before, and I probably went through a lot of it today, there's nothing I don't know about sales, marketing, branding, technology, the internet, social media, and all of these strategies. And I think last but not least, I do want to tell you that these strategies are they have cost little or no money, so you're not paying Zillow or somebody like that through the nose. And they have little or no competition because they are unique. They're out of the box. Nobody else is doing it. So you look bigger, better, or you're the only one that's going after these buyers and sellers. And there should be some stuff up above and below this video where you can reach out to me and let's get on a call. Schedule a call with me, and we'll just at least talk about this, okay? I'll either talk to you soon or I'll see you in another video.